Chapter 2493. It was so cool to watch without ads. He had never expected Pinliang to be from the ancient sect, the everyday and everyday sect. No wonder he was so strong, he had a master. Not to mention the ancient sects, just Lin Yi alone was enough to render the Hidden House Xiao helpless. The Hidden House Xiao definitely didn't dare to provoke the ancient sects, so Zhao Qibing stopped moving. It seemed like he had broken his leg for nothing again. I say, Zhao Qibing, do you still want revenge? Pinliang was overjoyed when he saw Zhao Qibing's dispirited expression the moment he heard the name of the everyday and everyday sect. The sect's name was indeed resounding. Pinliang, even if you want me to die, you should at least know the reason. Although you used to be my underling, I treated you well, didn't I? Why did you hit me like this? Qibing didn't think about revenge anymore. He just wanted to know what was going on. It's nothing, actually. My goddess told me to hit you. You didn't mess with me, but you messed with my goddess. Pinliang said. Your goddess? Who is it? Qibing paused before remembering Pinliang's crush. Chu Mengyao. That's right, Chu Mengyao. Pinliang nodded. You're in cahoots with Lin Yi. Qibing jumped in fright at Pinliang's admission. Of course not, I'm trying to steal his position, Pinliang said. Right, let me ask you, what's Lin Yi's strength now? Strength? Earth class mid-phase or peak mid-phase? Qibing said, why are you asking? You can beat Lin Yi. Earth class, huh? That's not a problem, I'll get him. Pinliang nodded in relief. Alright, Zhao Qibing, I'm done with you. You can leave now. Since you used to be my boss, I won't knock you out. I'll let you leave awake. Pinliang nodded after hearing that. Qibing was about to say that he was looking for someone when he thought of something. You didn't ask Yupanhu to call me, did you? That's me. Zhong Pinliang nodded. What the fuck? Right, coiling tiger is too much, how dare he trick me? Qibing was pissed. Oh, I beat him up too. Pinliang said nonchalantly. He's worse off than you, he's unconscious. I see. Qibing felt much better after hearing that. He took out his phone and called the Hidden House Xiao, asking them to pick him up. I'm going, it's time for me to report to my goddess. Pinliang said as he walked towards the economics building with Xiaofu in tow, his staff in hand. Yushu, on the other hand, had heard everything clearly and told Mengyao everything that had happened. You're saying that Zhong Pinliang joined the everyday and everyday sect, and became their leader? Mengyao was shocked. And he got his hands on the golden cicada underwear as well. Is it because of this underwear that he can take a beating? That should be the case. Yushu nodded. That underwear, didn't Lin Yi give us one too? Mengyao remembered the low-class golden cicada underwear that Lin Yi won at the Hidden House Summit. But ours isn't as high class as Zhong Pinliang's. Yeah, the underwear that Shield Bro won can only defend against Earth class and below, it's useless against Earth class and above. Yushu nodded. Lin Yi had wanted to wash the underwear and give it to Mengyao or Yushu for protection, but Qintian could take care of anyone below Earth class, so the golden cicada underwear was useless. He'd left it at home and never used it. So that's how Zhong Pinliang got so strong. He's just a cockroach that can't be killed, he doesn't have any real skills. Mengyao said. But that iron rod of his seems to be a little mysterious. Masters like Zhao Qibing and Right Coiling Tiger have chi protection, but Zhong Pinliang can still fight. Yeah, this guy has quite a lot of treasures on him. Yushu's eyes rolled around as she started thinking about Pinliang's treasures. Shu, you're not thinking about taking his stuff for yourself, are you? Mengyao knew Shu's expression all too well. One look and you could tell that she was after Pinliang's stuff. Ha 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 ha. Yushu laughed evilly. This is good stuff, so what if it's good stuff? You can't just take it from Pinliang's body, can you? Meng Yao said helplessly. That's true, but we can think of something. Yushu said. No matter what, let's tell Lin Yi about what happened here so he can prepare himself. Let's see if he can think of a way to deal with Pinliang. Meng Yao said. Yeah, that's a good idea. But wait, Pinliang's here again. Yushu said. As expected, not long after, Pinliang appeared in front of Meng Yao and Yushu's classroom. Compared to how arrogant he was when he went to Coiling Tiger Right, Pinliang was much more well-behaved in front of Meng Yao's classroom. The steel rod in his hand was disguised as a baseball bat, and it wasn't that eye-catching when he carried it on his shoulder. Pinliang walked up to Meng Yao and Yushu with a smile on his face. Yao Yao, Shu, I've beaten up that Zhao Qibing. Is there anything else I can do for you? HM. I heard you only broke Zhao Qibing's legs, didn't knock him out. You seem to have gone easy on him, is there something going on between you? Yushu asked. Ah. Pinliang paused. He didn't think that the news would spread so fast. Yushu knew about it right after he beat up Zhao Qibing. Did she have eyes and ears nearby? But when he thought about it, it made sense that Lin Yi would arrange bodyguards around Meng Yao and Yushu. With that thought, Pinliang started to put up his guard. He wasn't afraid of being ambushed, but the feeling of being watched was very uncomfortable. That's not it. Pinliang quickly explained. Actually, I heard that Lin Yi likes to break Zhao Qibing's legs, right? That's why I copied Lin Yi. That won't do. If you copy Shield Bro, we only need Shield Bro. Why would we need a fake version like you? Yushu said with a wave of her hand. Liangyi, your next step is to surpass Shield Bro in all aspects. For the latest chapters, please log in. It's a pleasure to read. I recommend you bookmark it. For more full-text novels, download. Chapter 2494. It felt so good to watch it without ads. Well, of course. Pinliang quickly nodded. Shu, what do you think I should do next? Next? I haven't thought of what to do yet. Just wait. Yushu said, I'll let you know when I'm done. I see. Then when can I become Yao Yao's bodyguard? Pinliang asked impatiently. I say, Liangyi, haven't you heard of this saying? Haste makes waste. Do you know how long Shield Bro had been with Yao Yao for Yao Yao to accept him? Yushu humphed. Didn't you see how much Yao Yao begged Shield Bro at the beginning? She even used you to teach him a lesson in school. Yeah. Pinliang remembered what had happened back in school. That was indeed the case. Back when he, Naipeo, and Gao Xiaofu were causing trouble for Lin Yi, Meng Yao and Yushu had been very excited about it. That meant that Meng Yao had taken a long time to accept Lin Yi as her bodyguard, and that meant that replacing Lin Yi's position wasn't something that could be achieved in 1 or 2 days. So, Liangyi, you should be grateful that I didn't encourage Yao Yao to get people to hurt you. It's good enough that I didn't stop you. If you're so impatient, I won't help you anymore. Yushu threatened. Don't, please don't. Pinliang was really scared. Shu sis, you know me. I've always listened to you. It's always been like this, and it's still the same now. Look, you told me to buy spicy skewers, and I did. I'm always listening to you. Yeah, so I'll try my best. But you need to be strong yourself. Go back and wait for my news. I'll let you know when I think of the next mission, Yushu said. Alright, I'll leave first, Shu sis. Pinliang nodded to Yushu respectfully before leaving with Gao Xiaofu. Lin Yi listened to Ming Yao's story and felt a headache coming on. Pin Liang had gotten a golden cicada undergarment from the Everyday and Everyday sect. Moreover, it seems to be a high-grade item that can resist the attacks of powerhouses under the heaven rank. Isn't this a bit too amazing? Not only that, he also had an iron rod that could break through the protection of Jin Qi. Wasn't this a legendary divine weapon? Pin Liang had gained quite a lot from this. It seemed like the Everyday and Everyday sect really valued him, or rather, valued Zhang Naipeo, for Naipeo's sake. Had Naipeo recovered? Lin Yi hadn't heard from Naipeo in a long time. He'd crippled him last time. Could it be that he'd recovered after going back and was able to continue? With that thought, Lin Yi's face turned solemn. It seemed like he couldn't underestimate the Everyday and Everyday sect. They were an ancient sect after all, able to recover from wounds like Naipeo's. Of course, this was all Lin Yi guessed from Pin Liang's situation. If Naipeo wasn't fine and able to continue, then he'd be useless. The Everyday and Everyday sect wouldn't care about Naipeo at all. Zhang Naipeo's this strong now. Lin Yi took a deep breath. He didn't say it, but he was worried. Would he be able to deal with him? Although he was currently in the Earth stage, he could activate a martial skill equivalent to a Heaven stage expert. Yeah, Lin Yi, do you have a way to beat him? Meng Yao asked. Yushu could deal with Pin Liang for a while, but it wouldn't be for long. Once Pin Liang came, Lin Yi would have to deal with him. Hard to say. Lin Yi frowned. I don't know much about the golden cicada underwear. I'll ask Han Xiaopa later. But don't provoke him for now, just let Shu deal with him. We'll talk about it when I get back. Alright, I understand. Shu can still stall for some time. It's not too urgent, don't worry too much. Meng Yao comforted. Yeah, I know. I'll think of something. Lin Yi said. Alright, I won't disturb you anymore. You. Be careful. Meng Yao said. Ha, okay. Lin Yi hung up the phone with a smile. The miss still couldn't let go of herself in front of him. She was more concerned about him now, but Lin Yi still felt like something was missing. Was it? It seemed like that was the case. The two were a little too polite, but it was nothing. Lin Yi turned around and left the room. He had two things to do. One was to trade the ice crystal for the earth element sky class blood from the sky class, and the other was to find Han Xiaopa to research the golden cicada underwear. He came to Han Xiaopa's room and knocked on the door. Boss. Han Xiaopa saw Lin Yi through the peephole and quickly opened the door. He didn't expect Lin Yi to find him so soon. As far as he was concerned, Lin Yi had to deal with Yang Qiqi first, then Xiaoka. The night would be gone by then. He walked into Han Xiaopa's room, and Han Xiaopa closed the door behind him. Boss, did you take care of things on your side? Ha, it's done. Lin Yi smiled. I have something to ask you. Boss, don't say that. Just say it. I'll tell you everything I know. Han Xiaopa quickly said. It's about the golden cicada underwear. Do you know about this thing? Lin Yi asked. I do. Didn't you win one at the Hidden House Summit? Han Xiaopa nodded. I did, but it's a low-tier golden cicada underwear. It can only defend against attacks from those below Earth class. Lin Yi nodded. Do you know what golden cicada underwear is? It can defend against attacks from those below Sky class. Oh. Boss, you're talking about mid-tier golden cicada underwear. Mid-tier golden cicada underwear can defend against attacks from those below Sky class. Han Xiaopa said. But this thing is a treasure. Only those powerful blacksmiths and Sky class golden cicada spirit beasts could make it. Mid-tier golden cicada underwear. Lin Yi nodded. Then there's also a high-tier one. The legends say that if you wear it, you'll be invincible under the heavenly Tao. Of course, that's just a legend. Whether or not it really exists, and who has it, I've never heard of it. Han Xiaope smiled bitterly. After all, this thing is too heaven-defying. If it were to appear in the world, there would be a bloodbath for it. Oh. That's true. Lin Yi took in a cold breath. To be continued. For the latest chapters, please log in. Reading is a pleasure. I recommend you bookmark it. For more full-text novels, download. Chapter 2495. If there really was such a thing, then wouldn't it be invincible? Only the legendary elites in the Tao of Heaven could hurt the person wearing the high-grade golden cicada undergarment. Boss, why are you suddenly asking this? Han Xiaope asked curiously, did someone bring out this treasure to trade in this trade fair? No, I didn't. One of my old enemies joined the Everyday sect as a disciple, and got a mid-level golden cicada undergarment. I don't know how to deal with him. Lin Yi didn't hide anything from Han Xiaope. Oh. That's not good. Han Xiaope thought about it, but couldn't think of anything. He shook his head, I've only heard of it, I've never seen it before. The hidden house Han doesn't have any records of it either. Yeah, I'll think of something myself, Lin Yi nodded, if it comes down to it, I'll have to ask old Pai to do it. If Lin Yi really couldn't beat Pinliang, he'd have to ask old Pai to intimidate him. Lin Yi didn't have any other ideas right now. That's good, Sky Class Masters are actually the best counter to mid-tier golden cicada underwear, Han Xiaope said. One more thing, how do we find the practitioners who set up their stalls during the day? Lin Yi asked. Practitioners who set up their stalls during the day. What do you want to trade, boss? Han Xiaope asked. The blood of the earth element Sky Class Spirit Beast. Lin Yi said. You should remember, the cool girl in the black leather shirt and pants asked about that thing. Oh, it's that thing. Han Xiaope nodded, we'll have to go to the reception downstairs to check. Some traders will register the items they want to trade when they register their room number. This is also to hide the trade. Some practitioners who aren't strong enough don't want to trade in public because they're afraid of being targeted. Then let's go take a look, Lin Yi said. Okay, but he might not register it. Han Xiaope said as he left the room with Lin Yi. Well, let's wait and see. Lin Yi was just trying. If it didn't work out, he would think about it tomorrow. The two went downstairs together. When they arrived at the reception desk on the first floor, Han Xiaope asked, Hello, I would like to ask if there are any customers registered to trade for the blood of an Earth Attribute Heaven Rank Spirit Beast. Sir, please wait a moment. Let me check for you, the waiter said. All right. Han Xiaope nodded. The waiter skillfully searched for the information of the transaction item that Han Xiaope had mentioned, and then said, Yes, there is indeed this information on the registration level. Can we trade with him? Han Xiaope asked. Wait a moment. Let me ask. With that said, the waiter dialed an internal number. After getting a positive response from the other side, he said to Han Xiaope, Yes, but please show me your room card information first. I have to make a registration. Han Xiaope and Lin Yi took out their room cards and handed them to the attendant. The purpose of this was to ensure the safety of the transaction process. If there was any dispute, they could still find each other. After the attendant registered, he said to Han Xiaope, The trader is waiting for you in room 4109. Please take the elevator this way. Thank you. Han Xiaope and Lin Yi took back their room cards, and then the two of them took the elevator and went upstairs. The two of them stopped in front of room 4109. Lin Yi knocked on the door. The voice of the heaven-rank cultivator that they had met during the day came out. "Please come in." Lin Yi and Han Xiaope pushed the door open and entered. It seemed that the heaven-rank cultivator had already made preparations to welcome the guests. There was a tea set on the coffee table, and hot water was also prepared. "Please take a seat. Do you want to trade the blood of an earth attribute heaven-rank spirit beast?" The heaven-rank cultivator pointed to the sofa at the side and went straight to the point. He was a heaven-rank expert, so he was naturally not afraid of Lin Yi and Han Xiaope. There were only a few heaven-rank experts that came to this trade fair, and he knew all of them. "Yes." Lin Yi nodded and sat on the sofa with Han Xiaope. "Please have some tea." The heaven-rank cultivator pointed to the tea set on the coffee table, not intending to pour tea for Lin Yi and Han Xiaope himself. But it was no wonder. He was a heaven-rank cultivator, so it was normal for him to have a high and mighty attitude. "Since the two of you are here, I'm sure you know my rules. I only want to trade for something from a water attribute heaven-rank spirit beast." The heaven-rank cultivator didn't come out. Lin Yi and Han Xiaope were the ones that followed Yang Qiqi during the day. He had been focusing on Yang Qiqi during the day, so he didn't have much of an impression of Lin Yi and Han Xiaope. After all, there were a lot of practitioners that looked at his stuff. He couldn't remember them all. He only had some impression of Yang Qiqi, who wanted to trade. "That's right." Lin Yi nodded again. "But, you're using the blood of an earth attribute heaven-rank spirit beast to trade for something from a water attribute heaven-rank spirit beast. It looks like a fair trade, but you're the one asking for a favor. Shouldn't you pay more?" "Ha, since you're here to trade, then the blood of an earth attribute heaven-rank spirit beast should be useful to you as well, right? How could you say I'm asking for a favor?" The heaven-rank cultivator wasn't stupid. He smiled and said directly, "I won't hide it from you. I'm only an Earth class mid-phase peak, and my friend is only an Earth class early phase. One of us is a fire element, and the other is a wood element." Lin Yi said as he used the first form of frenzy fist to prove his words. Han Xiaope, naturally, used a wood element to prove Lin Yi's words. The heaven-rank cultivator looked at the arts and strength of Lin Yi and Han Xiaope, and went silent. Lin Yi was right, the blood of an earth attribute heaven-rank spirit beast wasn't that useful to them. "To tell you the truth, I'm actually an opportunist." Lin Yi said, "I have something from a water attribute heaven-rank spirit beast, but I don't need it. I'm here to trade with you because I want to get more benefits." "What? You really have it?" The heaven-rank cultivator suddenly stood up and looked at Lin Yi in surprise. He had been looking for something from a water attribute heaven-rank spirit beast for many years. Suddenly hearing that Lin Yi had something like that, he was naturally overjoyed. "I came here and said all this, so of course I have it." Lin Yi smiled. "So that's how it is." The heaven-rank cultivator slowly nodded. "Since you've made it very clear that you want more benefits, I won't bargain with you. Can I take a look at your goods first? As long as it's what I need, everything's negotiable." To be continued. Chapter 2496. Of course, that's not a problem. Lin Yi reached into his pocket and took out the small bottle containing the ice crystal turtle saliva. He handed it to the heaven tier cultivator and said, "It's here." The heaven tier cultivator took a deep breath and carefully took the small bottle from Lin Yi's hand. He opened it and was immediately overjoyed. That's right, he could feel the powerful water attribute energy contained in the small bottle. This was what he had been dreaming of. He was so excited that his hands were trembling. "I finally found it. With it, I can modify the attributes of divine weapons. Resisting the urge to snatch it, the Heaven-tier cultivator carefully capped the bottle and placed it on the tea table. He said, "Since you have raised your conditions, I will tell you the truth. My things are all here. You can take any one of them, including the blood of the earth attribute heaven-rank spiritual beast." With that, the Heaven-tier cultivator opened a bag and placed it in front of Lin Yi. The small bottle containing the blood of the earth attribute heaven-rank spiritual beast was also inside. It wasn't that the Heaven-tier cultivator didn't want to snatch Lin Yi's things. It was because the purpose of the cultivator market was to ensure fairness and justice in transactions. If there was a problem, then the Cultivator Trade Association would definitely pursue the matter. Although he was a Heaven-tier cultivator, there were even more powerful Heaven-tier cultivators in the Cultivator Trade Association. Moreover, the thing he had been looking for so many years had appeared. He didn't want to complicate matters. Anyway, the blood of the earth attribute heaven-rank spiritual beast was of little value to him. In fact, even if he wanted to snatch it, Lin Yi wasn't afraid of him. Since Lin Yi dared to come, he naturally had the confidence to escape unscathed. Spiritual Beast Core. Lin Yi looked at the Heaven-tier cultivator's bag in surprise. A round bead said in surprise, "Oh. You want this thing?" The Heaven-tier cultivator looked at Lin Yi in surprise and said, "This is the core of that earth attribute heaven-rank spiritual beast. When I found it, it had just been killed by an enemy spirit beast, so I collected a bottle of its blood and retrieved its inner core." "Then you only took one bottle of blood. What about the other things?" Lin Yi asked with some pity. "When it was killed by the spirit beast, its blood had almost dried up. It took me a lot of effort to collect a small bottle." The Heaven Stage cultivator looked at Lin Yi and smiled bitterly. "Otherwise, do you think I wouldn't bring more back? Moreover, there's nothing special on it." "I see." Lin Yi nodded and said, "Then I want this beast core and that bottle of earth attribute heaven-rank spiritual beast blood." "Alright, deal." The Heaven Stage cultivator readily agreed. This inner core was also useless to him. "Alright." Lin Yi picked up the small bottle and the inner core. He stood up with Han Xiaope and said, "Since the deal is done, we'll be leaving. I won't see you out." The heaven-rank cultivator nodded and then impatiently picked up the bottle of turtle spit ice crystals that Lin Yi had given him and impatiently studied it. Lin Yi smiled. He left the room with Han Xiaope and walked towards their own room. "Boss, you brought this back for that cool girl?" Han Xiaope was a little surprised at Lin Yi's actions. He didn't know why. "Yeah." Lin Yi nodded. "She wants this. It's for treating someone, and..." At this point, Lin Yi's heart skipped a beat. Young Chi-Chi wanted to treat Little Nine. Little Nine. Lin Yi thought of someone. Could it be her? Hacker Princess. He remembered young Chi-Chi's identity. She was an assassin from Butterfly Castle. The Hacker Princess was also from Butterfly Castle, and her nickname was Little Nine. She was also sick. Could it be that young Chi-Chi was really looking for something to treat her? At this point, Lin Yi felt that this was very likely. Otherwise, it would be too much of a coincidence. If that was the case, then he wouldn't just be helping young Chi-Chi, but his old friend. The thought of the Hacker Princess gave Lin Yi a headache. He hadn't contacted her in a long time. Would she be angry if he did? After some thought, Lin Yi gave up on the idea of calling her to get to the bottom of things. Whether it was her or not, Lin Yi only had one more reason to help young Chi-Chi. "I see. But boss, you're just too kind. Just because of this, you're giving the blood of an Earth Element Sky class to that cool girl." Han Xiaope said sincerely. "You brat, you're just taking advantage of me. I help you level up, but can't I give something to someone else?" Lin Yi smiled. "Haha, of course not. Han Xiaope was a little embarrassed. Let's go get some rest. There's probably nothing much to do today, Lin Yi said. It was a quiet night, and the next morning, Lin Yi saw Han Xiaope and Xiaoke dressed neatly in front of his room. There was also a very tired young Chi-Chi, her eyes a little red. Evidently, Chi-Chi hadn't slept well last night. Before Lin Yi left the room, Chi-Chi had been glaring at Xiaoke. If looks could kill, Xiaoke would be dead already. Xiaoke, however, didn't even look at Chi-Chi. She sympathized with her, but Xiaoke wasn't a magnanimous person. This girl wanted to steal something from Lin Yi, and what right did she have? And so, Xiaoke didn't even look at her. Chi-Chi's glare was useless. Chi-Chi couldn't find a way to vent her frustration. All she could do was glare at Lin Yi, but Lin Yi didn't seem to care. He nodded to Han Xiaope. What time does the auction start? 9. Let's go get something to eat now. Han Xiaope asked. Okay, Lin Yi said. Chi-Chi didn't know that Lin Yi had let her steal the blue crystal on purpose, and thought that she'd been exposed. Lin Yi didn't say anything, but Chi-Chi knew that the chances were slim. She didn't even know why she followed Lin Yi around. Was it because she wanted to steal the blue crystal again, or was it because she wanted to kill Lin Yi for humiliating her? Chi-Chi felt like her brain was a mess. She was like a walking corpse as she followed Lin Yi to the restaurant. Lin Yi ordered 4 servings of breakfast, and Chi-Chi sat there, not refusing any. She ate her portion, but didn't say anything. Han Xiaope didn't say anything either. He knew that Lin Yi had gotten back what Chi-Chi needed, but if Lin Yi didn't say anything, Han Xiaope wouldn't say anything. He thought that Lin Yi wanted to teach Chi-Chi a lesson. Actually, Lin Yi really didn't want to teach Chi-Chi a lesson, but with Xiaoke here, Lin Yi didn't want to treat Chi-Chi too well. Chapter 2497. The surprise came from Xiaoke was interested in the male thief, and if he cared too much about young Chi-Chi, Xiaoke might get hurt. And so, Lin Yi was going to return the item to young Chi-Chi when there was no one around. After the 4 of them finished their breakfast, they walked towards the auction venue. There weren't many people entering the auction venue, only about 100 or so people. It seemed like many of the people who had participated in the market square didn't come to the auction. These people were still keen on setting up stalls to trade for goods. The items for auction were all written on the notice board outside the venue. Of course, there were some people who didn't want to attend the auction because there wasn't anything they wanted. At this moment, Lin Yi, Han Xiaope, and the others were standing in front of the notice board, looking at the items being auctioned. There was no doubt that there would be a large number of elixirs for sale in this auction. Some of them were provided by Lin Yi, and the rest should be provided by the Hidden House of You. The number was about the same as what Lin Yi provided, but there were some additional level 1 and 2 elixirs for other purposes. Lin Yi skimmed through the names of the pills, his eyes finally stopping on pure topaz. There really was pure topaz being sold at this auction. It seemed like Han Xiaope's information was true. In actuality, the Cultivator Trade Association would always leak some information about what was going to be auctioned, so it wasn't a big deal for Han Xiaope to know about it beforehand. Lin Yi and the others entered the auction venue and found an empty seat. Han Xiaope was just about to sit next to Lin Yi when he realized that Xiaoke was already sitting next to Lin Yi, and young Chi-Chi was about to sit on the other side. Han Xiaope smiled bitterly and sat next to young Chi-Chi. It was around 8:50, and most of the people had arrived. The vice chairman of Heaven class that Lin Yi had met at the entrance walked up to the stage with the pawnbroker. The Heaven rank vice leader sat on the side while the pawnbroker stood beside the Heaven rank vice leader. He picked up the microphone and said to the cultivators participating in the auction, "Welcome everyone to the auction organized by the Cultivator Trade Association. I'm Lu Xianxing, known as Mr. Lu in the pugilistic world. I'm also the auctioneer for this auction. Obviously, the people below the stage were not surprised that Lu Xianqing was on the stage as the auctioneer. It could be seen that he was the one who presided over the previous auctions. Although it was Ling Yi's first time participating, he had met him when he sent the pills to be auctioned previously, so there was nothing strange about it. Alright, since no one has any objections, let's begin the auction. Lu Xianqing said, according to the previous rules, the first item to be auctioned is the elixir from the Hidden Yu family. This is also the item that occupies a large proportion of the auction every time. However, today's elixirs did not completely come from the Hidden Right family. There's also another seller who put up some pills for auction. Wow! Lu Xianqing's words caused an uproar. Everyone was shocked. Which sect or family had the ability to provide elixirs to the Cultivator Trade Association? Could it be the Heavenly Elixir sect? However, although the Heavenly Elixir sect also provided elixirs to the Cultivator Trade Association, they only provided some high-grade elixirs. Moreover, the number of elixirs they provided was scarce. They would not auction them in such a low-level market. Instead, they would auction them in other large-scale cultivator auctions. This low-end elixir business had always been monopolized by the Hidden Yu family. Even if the Heavenly Elixir sect refined these low-end elixirs, they would hand them over to the Hidden Yu family to auction. As for the other sects and families, they had never heard of anyone who could refine a large number of elixirs. Below the stage, a young man raised his eyebrows and looked at Lu Xianqing unhappily. This person was from the Hidden Right family. He was also the young man who had been arrogant and despotic at the entrance of the cultivators' market to clear the way for the Heaven stage expert who was a short robber. However, everyone doesn't have to be surprised. According to my appraisal, the elixirs provided by the other seller are not inferior to the elixirs provided by the Hidden Yu family in terms of quality and purity. They are even more balanced. There is no difference in quality between each elixir. Lu Xianqing threw out another bombshell. What? The cultivators below the stage exclaimed after hearing it. As everyone knew, although the Hidden Yu family was an alchemy family and many earth-level elixirs were provided to them by the Heavenly Elixir sect, not to mention that these elixirs were refined by different alchemy masters. Even the same alchemy master couldn't guarantee the same quality every time he refined the elixir. Maybe if the condition was good, the quality of the elixir would be excellent. If the condition was bad, the quality of the elixir would be worse. Forming the elixir was the most basic requirement. However, after forming the elixir, the purity and quality were still different. However, every auction was a mixed auction. It was impossible to let the auctioneer pick the good and the bad. It could only be determined by luck. But now, Lu Xianqing said that there was no difference in quality between the elixirs provided by the new seller. What kind of concept was this? How amazing was the alchemy master to be able to do this? Perhaps even the elder of the Heavenly Elixir sect couldn't do it, right? Other than the famous elder of the Xiantian sect, perhaps only the medical saint Zhang Liju could do it. Now, there was actually someone who could refine elixirs of the same quality. Everyone, don't be in a hurry to be shocked. I still have something to add, and that is, every single one of these pills is of the highest quality. You don't have to try your luck or gamble on your luck. You can directly buy them and bring them home. It was undeniable that Lu Xianqing's words were very provocative. It made many people's hearts stir after hearing it. However, the young man from the Hidden Yu family's face was even uglier. In the past, the Hidden Yu family was the backbone of every auction. Seeing their elixirs being bought by cultivators at high prices, the Hidden Yu family was very happy. But this time, there was an accident, and it was when the young man and his granddaughter were in charge. Naturally, he was very unhappy. They are all of the highest quality. Even if the price is higher, it's fine. A cultivator sitting below the stage suddenly said. Nonsense, the price will definitely be higher. Everyone knows that it is the highest quality, so naturally, they will pay more, another cultivator immediately said. It was just that Lin Yi felt that these two people were hired by the Cultivator Trade Association, but it didn't matter. The situation in front of him would only benefit Lin Yi. Lin Yi naturally wouldn't be stupid enough to question them. Chapter 2504_School Bells Bodyguard Free Reading Chapter 2504 End of Bringing Surprises, Part 2. Chapter 2498. I don't believe it. Although some people thought that the two people who suddenly spoke might be fake, what they said was not wrong. It was reasonable for the best quality medicinal pills to have a higher price. Look. I don't believe it. It's impossible for someone to send better quality medicinal pills than us. You know, the medicinal pills this time are provided by the Heavenly Elixir sect. Do you mean that someone's medicinal pills are better than the Heavenly Elixir sect's? The young man finally couldn't help but stand up and ask. In the past auctions, the representatives of the Hidden Right family would always receive a lot of admiring gazes from other cultivators. However, this time, the same situation did not happen to the young man. He had coaxed and pestered his grandfather for a long time before he could attend this auction. In order to enjoy the admiring gazes of others, he had practiced acting tough for several days. He was prepared to say a few words when everyone was rushing to buy the elixir pills. Now that he had no place to use his skills, he suddenly became angry. Pan Gao, if you don't believe me, you can come and appraise it. Lu Xianqing glanced at the young man and said faintly, "You're welcome." This. The young man hesitated a little. His grandfather was the guest elder of the Yu family. Because of his heaven stage strength, he was allowed to learn alchemy from the Yu family. He was also given the name Pan. Now, he was considered a first-grade alchemist. Although his alchemy level was not satisfactory, he still had the ability to distinguish the quality of medicinal pills. So, when Lu Xianqing made this proposal, he really wanted to go forward and verify the authenticity. He really didn't believe that someone's alchemy level was so high. Moreover, he knew the source of this batch of medicinal pills from the Yu family. It was sent by the Heavenly Elixir sect. So, even if someone's alchemy level surpassed the hidden Yu family, it couldn't be better than the Heavenly Elixir sect, right? If you don't come and appraise it, then our auction will continue. Lu Xianqing said with a slight smile. He didn't want to offend the hidden Yu family. After all, Lin Yi's medicinal pills of good quality might still be available in the future. So, the business between the Cultivator Trading Association and the hidden Yu family still had to continue. It was all for the sake of getting a good price for these pills. Firstly, it was to express his goodwill to Lin Yi and see if they could work together for a long time. Secondly, it was to earn more commission for himself. All right then. Since Mr. Lu has invited me so strongly, I shall act as the appraiser for everyone. Right. Pan Gao made his decision in an instant. He stood up and walked slowly to the stage. The movement of the right arm. No one objected. After all, Mr. Lu had only been boasting about himself. After the auction ended, they had no way of finding fault with him. After all, the concept of a pill's quality was too vague. Whatever others said made sense. Of course, the reason why Right Pan Gao dared to go on stage was because his grandfather, the short robber, wasn't here. The short robber was actually here to hold the fort. After safely escorting the pills to this place, he spent the rest of the time cultivating in his room. He left everything to his grandson to handle. If the shorty was here, Right Pan Gao wouldn't go on stage so easily. He had to pretend to be well behaved. It's here. Mr. Gao on the right, please appraise it for us. Lu Xianqing pushed a bunch of small bottles towards Right Pan Gao, indicating that he could take a few out for inspection. Right Pan Gao didn't stand on ceremony. He randomly picked up a small bottle and opened it. Inside was a small qi gathering pill. Although he couldn't refine it, he was very familiar with it. Right Pan Gao's expression changed immediately. The small qi gathering pill was round in shape. Its color was even and full. There were 2 faintly discernible lines on it, proving that it was a second-grade pill. These were all the characteristics of a supreme-grade pill. Right Pan Gao naturally recognized it. Of the pills he sent over, only a few could reach this quality. The rest were either uneven in color, oval in shape, or had no lines. Of course, these only affected the final effect of the pill. It didn't mean that there was no effect. In other words, the effect was just slightly weaker. It must be a fluke. Yu Pangao thought that he had casually picked up the best one, but the others might not be as good. So, he quickly picked up another small bottle and opened it to check. However, his expression changed again. This was a small qi gathering pill. Its quality was basically the same as the previous one. They were both supreme grade. Right Pan Gao took a deep breath. He put down the small bottle in his hand and opened another bottle further away. This time, it was a small Huan pill, but it was still supreme grade. Impossible, definitely impossible. Right Pan Gao's movements became faster and faster. He basically opened half of the small bottles in front of him, but all of them were supreme grade. Right Pan Gao panted heavily, unwilling to give up. His eyes were wide open, filled with shock and disbelief. How is it, Mr. Gao on the right? Can you announce the results of your appraisal? Lu Xianqing smiled. This. Right Pan Gao hesitated. However, he didn't dare to speak carelessly in this situation. He could only bite the bullet and say, yes, they are all supreme grade pills. In fact, everyone had already guessed this result from Right Pan Gao's expression. However, when Right Pan Gao said it, everyone believed it. These cultivators didn't care about the Hidden Yu family's reputation. They only wanted to buy better things that were more useful to them. Hence, they were all eager to participate in the auction. Hee, Mr. Gao on the right, thank you for your appraisal. You can go back now. Lu Xianqing gestured for everyone to leave. Then, he said to everyone, all right, let's start the auction. Yu Pangao walked back to his seat gloomily, and the auction had officially begun. As expected, the elixirs that Lin Yi sent were auctioned at an average price of 15 million, while the Hidden House Yu's elixirs remained at the previous price of 10 million, no more, no less. However, although the price did not decrease, Right Pan Gao's expression was ugly with jealousy. Someone had stolen the Hidden Yu family's business. In previous auctions, the Hidden Yu family's pills were very popular. The supply could not meet the demand. However, this time, at the end of the auction, no one bid. Obviously, those who wanted to buy the pills had already bought them. Seeing that the situation was not right, Lu Xianqing had no choice but to let the remaining pills go unsold. Lin Yi's goal here was to get the pure topaz. The other items didn't have much use to him, so he closed his eyes and rested while the others were auctioning off their items. He'd only be able to focus when the pure topaz was auctioned off. Chapter 2505, School Bells Bodyguard Free Reading _ Chapter 2505 I Don't Believe It. Update complete. Chapter 2499. The next item to be auctioned is pure topaz. Lu Xianqing took a small box from the hands of a disciple and opened it in front of everyone, revealing the contents inside. He then said, I don't need to introduce the uses of pure topaz. Everyone should know that pure jade is something that must be used to modify heaven-ranked divine weapons. This piece of pure topaz is not small. The starting price is 10 million, and each bid must not be less than 1 million. Alright, let the auction begin. Lin Yi's eyes immediately lit up. Although Lu Xianqing described the size of the pure topaz, in reality, the pure topaz was really not big. It was only the size of a fist. However, the market price of this kind of pure topaz was already high. 10 million was really not a lot. Of course, the auction could not be completed with the starting price, especially in this kind of place. Before Lin Yi could even bid, someone had already bid. 15 million. A cultivator raised the number plate in his hand and said directly. Lin Yi looked towards the direction of the voice. He did not expect it to be the heaven-rank cultivator who exchanged for the turtle spit ice crystal. After he went back, it was obvious that he wanted to modify weapons. At this time, it was reasonable to bid for pure topaz. It was not a rare thing. However, Lin Yi secretly regretted it. If he knew that this guy would interfere, it would be better to wait for the auction to end before exchanging with him. Before he obtained the turtle spit ice crystal, he might not be enthusiastic enough to bid for a piece of pure topaz. 20 million. Another voice sounded. It was actually Right Pan Gao. Lin Yi did not expect this pure topaz to be so popular. Even Right Pan Gao wanted it. 21 million. Another thin and tall cultivator bid, but the increment was not as fierce as the previous two. 25 million. The heaven-rank cultivator bid again. 30 million. Right Pan Gao also raised his hand and bid. 31 million. The thin and tall cultivator hesitated for a moment and also bid. This pure topaz appreciated very quickly. It appreciated faster than the previous auction items. In the blink of an eye, it had already exceeded 30 million. From the looks of it, the price was still rising. Lu Xianqing's mouth revealed a trace of a smile. This situation was what he was most happy to see. The auction was not afraid of people bidding. What they were afraid of was no one bidding for the item. It was the same pure-colored jade. It had appeared in previous auctions, but sometimes, it was sold at a low price of more than 10 million, which made Lu Xianqing's heart bleed. After all, a piece of pure-colored jade could be sold for a similar price in the jewelry market, let alone a cultivator's auction. But this thing was just a coincidence. Lu Xianqing also understood that when there was no one to buy it, no matter how good it wasn't money. When there was someone to buy it, even if it wasn't worth much, it was still money. 35 million. The heaven-rank cultivator raised the price once again. 50 million. Yu Pan Gao looked impatiently at the heaven-ranked cultivator. Although he knew that this person was a heaven-ranked cultivator, in his opinion, how could an itinerant cultivator be a match for the hidden Yu family? Therefore, Right Pan Gao directly threw out a high price of 50 million. When the Heaven Realm cultivator heard Pan Gao's bid, he seemed very angry. But he was a heaven-rank rogue cultivator. Although he didn't rely on any family or sect, he made a lot of money as a bodyguard for a wealthy merchant. Occasionally, he would also secretly accept some international bounty hunter missions, accumulating a considerable amount of wealth. 60 million. The heaven-ranked cultivator called out his bid again. If it wasn't for the fact that he urgently needed jade to refine weapons, he wouldn't spend 60 million on these things. Wouldn't that be like having nowhere to spend his money? The tall and skinny man was stunned. He never thought that a pure yellow jade could be raised to a high price of 60 million. This was already beyond the limit of what he could bear. Therefore, he shook his head and put down the sign in his hand. He gave up the bid. But Pan Gao was unwilling to give up. He didn't know what other people would use this pure yellow jade for, but he was determined to get it. Because this was a mission given by Old Master Yu, and he heard that it seemed to be related to the Heavenly Elixir sect, 80 million. Pan Gao was furious. Why was this person fighting with him? Why couldn't he buy anything? Why did he have to fight with me for this thing, 100 million? The heaven-ranked cultivator was also anxious. It wasn't that he had to buy it, but the opportunity was here. If he gave up and went back to look for pure jade, it wouldn't be worth it. Therefore, he also called out a sky-high price. If he couldn't, he could only give up. After all, his strength wasn't as strong as the Hidden Yu family, 110 million. Pan Gao continued to raise the price. No matter what, he was determined to get this pure yellow jade. The heaven-ranked cultivator gave up unwillingly. He put the sign in his hand on the table and didn't continue to raise the price. Although Lu Xianqing felt that it was a pity that no one continued to raise the price, it was rare for a pure yellow jade to be sold for more than 100 million. In the last auction, a pure purple jade was only sold for 32 million. It wasn't even a third of this time's price, 110 million going once. Lu Xianqing began to call out the price. 120 million. Lin Yi raised the sign in his hand. This price had already exceeded Lin Yi's expectations. If it wasn't for Lin Yi's previous elixirs that were sold for nearly 300 million, he would still be left with more than 200 million after deducting the commission. Otherwise, Lin Yi wouldn't have the money to buy it. G.A. Pan Gao didn't expect that the heaven-ranked cultivator wouldn't come to compete with him. Instead, someone came out of nowhere and started to compete with him again. His face turned extremely ugly. He turned to look at Lin Yi, wanting to see if Lin Yi was hired by the auction. Lin Yi didn't bother with the Pan Gao on the right. He just sat there calmly after saying his price. 130 million. Pan Gao tried to test the waters, unwilling to give up. 131 million. Although Lin Yi had money, he couldn't spend it recklessly. Wouldn't it be better to give the extra money to Yu Xiaoke to develop the orphanage? Fuck. Pan Gao heard Lin Yi's bidding method and was instantly enraged. Who would increase the price like this? Was it fun? Although the minimum price increase could be 1 million, in reality, once the price of an item reached a certain level, no one would do that. It was equivalent to purposely making things difficult for others. 150 million. Yu Pan Gao glared at Lin Yi. 151 million. Lin Yi said faintly, but he was a little anxious in his heart. Although he made a lot of money from elixirs, money shouldn't be squandered like this. In the blink of an eye, it was already 150 million. Although the materials of this elixir belonged to House Yu, and it was self-produced and sold. There wasn't much cost, but it was basically a one-off business. It was impossible to expect to get more materials from House Yu. Chapter 2500. He was speechless. 180 million. This pure topaz belongs to the Hidden Yu family. Yu Pan raised his sign and looked at Lu Xianqing. Yu Pan Gao's intention was clear. He wanted Lu Xianqing to make the final decision as soon as possible. He called out 180 million. This was already giving the Cultivator Trading Association enough face. It suddenly increased from 150 million to nearly 30 million. Lu Xianqing smiled bitterly in his heart. He didn't expect to face these two people in the end. One was from the Hidden Yu family, and the other was the person who consigned the elixirs. He really didn't know how to choose. If it was any other time, he would give Yu Pan Gao face and make the final decision. But now, doing so was equivalent to offending a potential big supplier of the Cultivator Trading Association. Look! 181 million. Lin Yi frowned secretly. If this continued, he definitely wouldn't be Yu Pangao's opponent. The hidden Yu family was rich. Kid, it seems that you are deliberately going against the hidden Yu family. Yu Pangao was furious. He stood up and stared at Lin Yi fiercely. I have already said that this pure topaz belongs to the hidden Yu family. What a joke. Lin Yi said coldly, the rule of the auction is that the highest bidder wins. I have never heard of anyone saying that this thing belongs to me and no one will compete. However, if you insist that I am going against the hidden Yu family, then so be it. Yu Pangao glared at Lin Yi. His chest heaved up and down. After a while, he said to Lu Xianxing, 200 million. Kid, if you know what's good for you, give this thing to me. 201 million. Lin Yi raised the sign with his right hand, but his left hand didn't stop. He directly flicked a small stone that he picked up from the ground and shot it at Yu Pangao, who was not far away. This guy had raised the price to 200 million, and Lin Yi couldn't let him continue. If he did, he wouldn't have the money to pay. Therefore, after much consideration, Lin Yi could only think of such a method, which was to seal the acupoint of the right Pangao. Lu Xianxing wanted to make him temporarily speechless so that Lu Xianxing could make the final decision. 2. Right Pangao wanted to continue bidding, but he suddenly realized that he couldn't speak. Although he was a cultivator, what he cultivated was the mental cultivation method of an alchemist. His vigilance was relatively poor. He did not expect that Lin Yi would use a small stone to attack him, so he did not use his true qi to protect his body, and was directly hit on his acupoint. He was speechless. Yu Pangao's mouth gaped open in shock, but he could not utter a single word. Mr. Lu, since Pangao has stopped bidding, can we drop the hammer now? Lin Yi looked at Lu Xianxing and asked. Although Lu Xianxing found it strange that Pangao had stopped bidding with his mouth wide open, he still followed the rules of the auction and asked, 201 million going once. 201 million going twice, ha. Ha. Pangao wanted to speak, but he couldn't. It was very difficult. The vice president of Heaven Division looked at Pangao and frowned. However, Lin Yi did it secretly, throwing the small stone at the same time he bid. At that time, everyone's attention was on him, so naturally, no one looked at Pangao, not even the vice president of Heaven Division. They didn't notice this detail. It wasn't that he didn't notice it, but that he didn't pay attention at all. He was only here to hold the fort. In his opinion, no one would cause trouble at the auction, so it was even more impossible for him to pay attention to everyone in the auction. Moreover, the acupoint was a legendary martial art technique. Most cultivators had only heard of it, but had never seen it before. They didn't know how to use it, so no one thought in this direction. 201 million going thrice, sold. Lu Xianxing raised the small hammer and knocked it down, finalizing the deal. Congratulations to the winner. After the auction ends, come to me to complete the procedures. Wait. I bid. Not long after Lu Xianxing finished speaking, Pangao spoke again. I bid 210 million. You can't sell it to him. I'm sorry, I've already bid for it. Lin Yi looked at Pangao mockingly and said, what were you doing earlier? I suddenly couldn't speak. Pangao also felt that this matter was a bit strange. Why did he suddenly lose his ability to speak? In fact, Lin Yi's timing was impeccable, controlling the strength of the pressure point so that the right Pangao would be rendered speechless for a short period of time. When the time was over, the right Pangao would return to normal, and it wouldn't draw too much suspicion. A gentleman can't blame himself. If you can't speak, who are you blaming? Lin Yi glanced at Pangao, then turned his head and ignored him. Although the matter was a bit strange, Lu Xianqing wanted the auction to proceed normally. He didn't have time to study Pan Gao's matter, so he directly moved on to the next treasure. Pan Gao, on the other hand, looked at Lin Yi hatefully. It didn't matter what the reason was, it didn't matter if it was Lin Yi's doing or not. This pure topaz was mine. I'll let you have it for a while, but it'll still end up in my hands in the end. I'll save a lot of money too. Pan Gao had already made up his mind to snatch it. He was prepared to wait for the auction to end, then let his grandfather do it. He wasn't very clear about what this pure topaz was used for. He only knew that this pure topaz was hidden, and the Pan Gao family was determined to get it. If anything went wrong, it would be hard for him and his grandfather to explain to the family. Especially after his grandfather had just carried out a mission and messed it up, they were even more eager to perform meritorious deeds to wash away the previous shame. Of course, the failure of the previous mission wasn't actually his grandfather's fault. The enemy was too strong, and his grandfather had no choice. After the hidden Pan Gao family knew the reason, they didn't say anything, but his grandfather felt a little embarrassed. The mission of this auction was simple and easy. He thought that it would be completed smoothly, but who would have thought that there would be someone who interfered? In the following auctions, because there wasn't anything that Lin Yi wanted, Lin Yi didn't pay too much attention to it. Time flew, and in the blink of an eye, the auction was over. Lin Yi stood up and walked to the inner room at the back of the auction hall to settle the previously sold elixirs and purchased pure topaz. Most of the people at the auction didn't want to reveal their names and identities, especially when there were cultivators around. Therefore, other than a few people who swiped their cards, most people carried large suitcases with Swiss francs to carry out transactions. It seemed that this was a long-standing rule. The exchange rate of Swiss francs was relatively high, and the face value of banknotes was relatively large, so it was used as the currency used in the Cultivator Trading Association. Chapter 2507, School Bells Bodyguard Free Reading Chapter 2507 I am speechless. Update complete. Chapter 2501. Young Chi-Chi's disappointment came from Lin Yi walked up to Lu Xianqing according to his number. You have an auction item and an auction item. Should we settle it together? Lu Xianqing looked at Lin Yi's number and asked. Let's settle it together, Lin Yi said. Okay. Lu Xianqing nodded and started calculating. He was vague about the auction item, but he didn't say what Lin Yi was auctioning. No one would suspect anything. After all, there were so many things in this auction. Who knew what Lin Yi was auctioning? Lu Xianqing calculated Lin Yi's bill and realized that he still owed Lin Yi 40 million. It was equivalent to 6 million Swiss francs, so he asked directly, do you want to transfer or cash? Cash. Lin Yi said. He didn't want to expose his real identity yet. The longer people found out about his elixir refining, the better. With the relationship between House Yu and the Cultivator Trade Association, it wouldn't be hard to get information about Lin Yi. So, Lin Yi tried not to leave any information related to himself, such as his bank account number. Although Lin Yi had an anonymous account abroad, Lin Yi had used it many times. If someone wanted to contact him, it wouldn't be hard to contact Lin Yi. Okay. Lu Xianqing gave Lin Yi a piece of paper and the pure yellow jade that Lin Yi got from the auction. He said to Lin Yi, go to the window over there and get the cash. Thank you. Lin Yi took the paper and put the pure yellow jade away carefully. He went to another window and passed the paper over. The disciple glanced at it and went to the inner room to prepare. After a while, he came back with a suitcase and gave it to Lin Yi. Sir, your money is here. You can count it. No need. After Lin Yi took the suitcase, he went straight to the door. The size of the suitcase was fixed. Even if it was only 10,000 Swiss francs, the Cultivator Trade Association would still use a large suitcase. This was also for the sake of secrecy. No one would be able to judge the amount of money inside from the size of the suitcase, and no one would be able to guess what the item was being auctioned. Lin Yi naturally wouldn't be stupid enough to count the number on the spot. That would be tantamount to confessing. If someone added the price of the pure topaz from before, it wouldn't be difficult to imagine the total value of those pills. Moreover, Lin Yi did not believe that the Cultivator Trade Association would cheat in this aspect. Lu Xianqing didn't say anything, but after the Vice President of Heaven Division saw Lin Yi leave, his eyes flashed. He didn't tell Lu Xianqing his plan. After all, although the Cultivator Trade Association was strong, it was an organization that emphasized fairness and justice. Lu Xianqing was also a relatively decent person. Although his position wasn't as high as the vice president, he was the chief auctioneer and appraiser of the market square. His status in the Cultivator Trade Association was also aloof. Even if the vice president of Heaven Division didn't give him face, he couldn't do anything to him. He was a special talent of the Cultivator Trade Association. Even the president would be polite to him. What the Vice President of Heaven Division wanted to do was against the morality of the Cultivator Trade Association. His disciple was killed after failing to ask for a bribe. It didn't make sense for him to take revenge. If this was known by the president, he would definitely not let it go easily. Especially if the other hostile vice president knew about it, he would lose a layer of skin. So the vice president didn't plan on telling Lu Xianqing at all. After Lin Yi left, the vice president found an excuse and left the office. He had to plan to surround Lin Yi at the foot of the mountain. After Lin Yi left his seat, a lot of people prepared their positions. Young Chi-Chi saw that the Heaven Division was about to leave. After hesitating for a moment, he quickly caught up and called out, "Senior, please wait." "Oh. It's you." The Heaven Division turned around and saw Yang Chi-Chi. He still had an impression of Yang Chi-Chi. She was the girl who wanted to trade the blue crystal for the blood of an Earth Element Sky-class spirit beast. "Senior, my blue crystal. I don't have it on me right now, but don't worry, I'll get it as soon as I get home and trade it with you. Please don't give it to anyone else, I beg you." Yang Chi-Chi said sincerely. Lin Yi had taken the blue crystal, but Chi-Chi knew that there would be another blue crystal up for sale in the upcoming auction abroad. She'd go all out to get another blue crystal and bring it back to trade with the Sky class. I'm sorry, little girl, but I've already traded the blood away," the Sky class practitioner said to Chi-Chi. "So, I can't trade with you anymore." "Ah. What?" Chi-Chi paled upon hearing the Sky class practitioner's words. "It's already been traded." "How is that possible? How could this be? Last night, someone brought something I needed and traded it with me. I couldn't refuse." The Heaven Division said, "So, little girl, there's nothing I can do." "Ah. What did he trade with you?" Young Chi-Chi asked. "It's what I need, something from a water element heaven class," the Heaven Division said. "Then, can you tell me who it was that traded the blood away?" Chi-Chi had no choice but to ask for the next best thing. "I can't tell you that, it's a personal secret. I can't reveal his identity without the person's permission." The Heaven Division shook his head. "Wasn't it the person sitting beside you, fighting with Right Pan Gao for the yellow jade?" But he couldn't say that already. Lin Yi and Yang Chi-Chi looked like they knew each other, and they were even sitting together. But the more it was like that, the weirder the Heaven Division felt. The two were sitting together, and Lin Yi hadn't told Yang Chi-Chi the truth. Wasn't that hiding something? And so, the Heaven Division wouldn't be the bad guy and reveal things like that. On the contrary, He was very grateful to Lin Yi for giving him what he needed, and even beating Pan Gao in the competition for the pure topaz, allowing him to vent some of his frustrations. Because Lin Yi had entered the competition later, the Heaven Division had already given up. He didn't hate Lin Yi at all. I see. Young Chi-Chi knew that she was forcing the Heaven Division. Alright, little girl, I'll be leaving now. The Heaven Division turned around and left the auction house. Chapter 2508 The Campus Belle's Bodyguard is free. Young Chi-Chi's disappointment update was complete. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.